Hi, this is going to be the first in a series of videos about past life regression. Um, about how past life regression is a key to spiritual awakening. Now, it's not the key. Nothing is the key because spiritual awakening is about finding your true self, and as others have said, all paths lead there eventually. Um, but this video is going to be about life purpose and how past life regression is a key to getting in touch with the life purpose and even being guided in the implementation of that life purpose. So when people come to see me for a past life regression session, they bring in a list of questions for their higher self. And the session is mainly about looking at past lives, but almost more importantly, it's about conversing with the non-physical aspect of you, the soul, the higher self, whatever you want to call it. In quantum healing hypnosis, QHHT, we call it the subconscious, which is not really accurate in terms of psychological terminology, but it kind of got stuck. So the first thing to know is that you do have a life purpose. You are here for a reason. And the thing is, a lot of the reasons are very different for different people. You might have been a really motivated go-getter in another life. You might have achieved a lot. You might have had a lot of money, fame, notoriety, whatever. And it might be your purpose in life this time to hang out, have a big family, sit around, drink beers, and watch football. And be in a big house where people are running around making a lot of noise. There's a lot of drama, whatever, but nothing's really accomplished. Nobody's supposed to get rich or famous or powerful or anything like that. There are resting lives. There are lives of just chill out and you don't really have to do anything. There are other lifetimes where your life purpose is really just to be here, and the energy of you is supposed to kind of impact your environment, and you don't really have to do anything. You just do whatever you want to do, and just the fact that you're there, that's enough. You might know people that you think are not very spiritually advanced because they don't agree with you about reincarnation or spirits or whatever you believe in. They have no interest in ayahuasca. They have no interest in aliens. They have no interest in the idea of, is there a God or not? And you might think these people are not that advanced. But the fact is, you don't know, because their life purpose might be the fact that they are so advanced, they're just taking a break this time. And so that's fine. Them taking a break is their life purpose. You trying to awaken them spiritually would then be taking them away from their life purpose. So the first idea is that you do have a life purpose. And doing past life regression, asking the higher self what that purpose is, and seeing past lives, seeing issues that are still with you from past lives that need to be cleared, and seeing talents that you had in past lives that maybe need to be activated now. It's really important, and it can be a really powerfully transformative thing. The next thing is that past life regression gives you context in terms of your purpose. It gives you an idea why you were born into the family you were born into, why you were born into the country, the economic conditions, the sexual orientation, body type, all kinds of things. It gives you the context for how all these things fit together. A lot of people spend a lot of time resisting the reality that they find themselves in. A lot of people come to me and say, I don't belong on earth, and I don't belong in my family, and I don't belong in this country, and whatever. And I always try to stop them and say, let's start with the idea that maybe you do. Maybe reality's not wrong. Maybe your ego's misinterpreting reality. Maybe. If that's the case, let's look at what that is. Being spiritual, whatever that means, spiritually awakening, means moving from the agenda of the ego to the agenda of the higher self. And it's not about demonizing the ego. The ego is like your avatar in this game. It's cool. It has a unique personality. It's great. It's something to love, to adore. But it's not something that you need to kind of fight for. So there's a context of why you are in this certain lifetime with these challenges and how that all fits into your life purpose. Past life regression does a really good job of that, especially through the connection with the higher self. But even when you look at the past lives themselves, usually there's something that you were shown where you probably come a long way since then, but there's more work to be done. And sometimes I've had clients where they've had 5 lives in a row where it all came to the same thing. For example, they're in an abusive relationship, and they're held in, for example, they always felt abandoned their whole life. Their parents abandoned them, maybe not geographically, maybe didn't just leave them physically, but were working all the time, didn't pay attention when they were home, had drug issues, whatever. And then they get a partner who's never going to abandon them, but wants to control them 24/7, wants to control every aspect of their life. That person's challenge could be to overcome the fear of being alone and being abandoned. And the best way they can do that is to leave this controlling relationship, for example. And they have to confront all their fears of being alone forever, being rejected, of not being good enough. And when they do that, and when they choose themselves over the relationship, very quickly, they kind of ascend to a different level. Past life regression can be really good by giving you the context. Now, I talk about getting in touch with the higher self through past life regression. One thing that's very important to understand is, so in these sessions, like I said, we go through past lives, and then we speak to the higher self. So a lot of times our experience is that these are two different things, and that we only get in touch with the higher self in part 2, where we call forth the higher self. But what's important to understand is that in past life regression, as soon as you go into a past life, you are connected to the higher self. Because like I say repeatedly over and over, You don't have a past life. You are a life. Okay? The finger doesn't have a hand. The hand has a finger. That's my analogy. One analogy, right? So it's like saying this finger says, I have this past life. No, this finger, or let's say this finger, this finger died, and then it went back to the hand, and then this one came out, right? Oh, that's a cool pattern. So anyway, the idea is that you have this higher self, and this higher self knows the past lives you've had. It knows why you're in this life. It knows your purpose and all of that. It's the holder of the vision. And it's able to make changes, to make corrections also. And so doing past life regression puts you in touch with that higher self, that holder of the vision of your life. Now, one final thing, and this is really important. As I said before, spiritual awakening is about moving from the egoic agenda to the higher self agenda. It's tough, right? Because the ego is more powerful, and it's dealing with physical reality that's really apparent. Whereas the spirit, although it's eternal, it's dealing with subtle energies which most people don't even kind of recognize. It's kind of like back in 150 years ago or whatever it was, when people would laugh and think the idea of microscopic germs was just a ridiculous concept, and that the people who thought they needed to wash their hands before doing surgery were just being weird, and they couldn't imagine these little microbes that scientists talked about. The fact is that things that are material are made out of things that are subtle. Okay, so your table is made out of sparks of electricity, basic charges, negative, positive, neutral, whatever. Protons, neutrons, electrons, which I think only protons have some mass. Don't quote me, not a scientist, obviously. But there's a subtle level, like the atomic level, that's mainly energetic, right? We know that all physical objects are 99+% empty space. And also your life is shaped from the subtle level through subtle energies like beliefs, like karmic attachments, like ideas, philosophies, emotions, suppressed emotions, right? All of these things have so much more of an impact than we give credit. And doing past life regression puts you in touch with that and gives you an experience of how the subtle creates the material. I'll probably have to do multiple other videos on that. Feel free to ask me if you get in touch and have a session. But anyway, so really an amazing thing that you can go in for a past life regression session. And in one session, now my sessions are 4 to 5 hours long, talking for a couple hours, hypnosis for a couple hours, and then usually going over one or both of those. And you can connect to a part of you so much wiser than your mind, than your ego, than your personality, than your incarnational personality or identity. That you can really actually channel your soul. Now, whether your logical, egoic mind believes it afterwards, that's another story. It will fight, usually. But it's just an amazing resource. It's something that, as a practitioner of QHHT, past life regression, that I've done this for over 10 years, over 1,500 sessions. You know, it's kind of like, why doesn't everybody do this? And why doesn't everybody know about this? And I want to be cautious because, like I said, there are so many paths to the truth because the truth is the truth, right? So you can go meditate on a mountain in Tibet. You can do all kinds of things. You can just walk down the street and enlightenment can hit you. Absolutely. But I have never seen anything, and I've done a lot of stuff. I've never seen anything that brings such a high level of awakening and healing and spiritual connection in a morning, in an afternoon. It's an incredible thing. So if past life regression's on your bucket list, I suggest you check it out. With me, with anybody else, just make sure you get somebody with some experience and make sure you vibe with them. That's really the most important thing. You need to feel that they have the experience, and you need to feel a certain level of trust. Anyway, that's it for now. Good luck on your seeking, and we will talk again soon.